that got everybody angry, including members of An Garda Síochána. John, good morning.
Morning, Neil. Just before I get to that, if I may comment on the outrageous comments that are coming in as regards the young lady that was
You'll always get that. You'll always get that. Anytime I do a story like that, you will get people say, don't be having kids, don't be having kids.
Yeah, like the last time I looked, it was physically impossible to be unborn. These children are born.
No, but the people, you're just saying, the people are saying you need to cut your, and I'm not amongst them, I don't want to seem to be criticising Niamh, but they're suggesting that economically, having a big family when you're renting and you don't have security or tenure is not a clever thing to do.
Well, again, I mean, if you're renting, that doesn't mean that you can't have kids. I mean, it's just so outrageous anyway. I think what those people did. Secondly, before I get to your own renting, the Lord Mayor, when he or she becomes the first citizen, Neil, has been protocol right down for the years, used to spend your party politics like him. And so the way she voted last night was an absolute affront to everything that the Lord Mayor, the first citizen, being impartial, should stand for. No, that's that out of the way. As regards Owen O'Brien, I think he shouldn't have apologised for the tweet of the...
He apologised if it upset the Gardaí.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing about it, to me, I have no problem with it, because if you remember going back to the water protest, which you were with us, there was a lot of intimidation went on there. A lot of people brought before the courts, not only in Cork, right around the country. A lot of intimidation, a lot of bad feeling.
Yeah, but do you think that any member of the Garda Síochána went out to work that morning to be hassling, harassing people or trying to get them into court? They didn't. They just didn't.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be sent out in the first place. There was other proper policing to be done, right? And again, during the COVID, the Debenhams workers here in Cork, their names are taken. The Debenhams workers in Dublin were harassed and bullied and intimidated off the streets and put on the doors to get them out of town. People in churches right around the country, girls went in, and elderly parishioners inside were bullied and intimidated out of the church. So there's a lot of residue hanging around.
Yes, that's a COVID-related intimidation, is it?
Yeah, but I that's why I have no problem with the actual superimposing of the famine scene, right? And Owen O'Brien, I wish he didn't apologise for it, right? Because to me, it's a shot across the bows to An Garda Síochána. We see what happened up over the border, right, for a bank. And they beat people to the ground while the guards stood by and done nothing, right? No, this tweet now and this famine scene, right, it's a shot across the board on Garda Síochána, because if they come out and there's any evictions right around the country, which there will be many of, right, what are they going to do?
And it goes to court, and the court opposes the eviction order, and then it gets it very, very serious. It could be a physical removal. Yeah. Would that involve An Garda Síochána?
Well, the Gardaí shouldn't be involved in the civil matter of actually driving people physically out of the house. That will be done by bailiffs, or again, private mercenaries, as I call them, right? And if the people coming out of the house are manhandled in any way, the Garda Síochána will have to get involved in and protect those individuals in that house. They have to be impartial on the day. They can't stand back and not take a side. They will have to stop the roughing up or the physical abuse of any man, woman, or children coming out of these properties, right? So I had no problem with that photograph, because it was a shot across the bows to the Gardaí. Look, take a good look at this now, guys. Be very careful now how you handle this when it comes around.
Just wondering as to whether An Garda Síochána will have a role to play in an eviction.
Well, you see, the problem is...
Because if they don't, and have they had a role in an eviction? Do you know of anybody in Cork, say, for instance, being evicted, where An Garda Síochána did the evicting?
Not in Cork, but if we go on what happened in Stokestone, as I said there, where they actually stood by while people have been beaten to the ground, like, I don't want to see that in my city. I don't want to see it anywhere else happen in this country. So if you read the Garda Oath, and you get it up online if you want to, Neil, right, you're supposed to have equal respect, and one word always jumps out to me in that Garda Oath, right, it says impartiality. That's why when the guards are called to, if there's a fight inside in town, and you and me will say are fighting, the guard can't say, Neil Prendeville, you started, Jonathan, you started it. They have to check the CCTV, they have to get witnesses, mobile phone, if somebody has it on phone, whatever.
I just want to know, and I'll have to find out for myself, if a court order is passed upholding an eviction of a family anywhere in the country, right, who goes to do the evicting? I know bailiffs would go on behalf of the owner of the property, right? But is that all? Are An Garda Síochána called? Do they attend? with blues and
Well,
twos.
the officer of the court with the bailiffs will request the attendance of the Gardaí, and the Gardaí will have to turn up once the request is made by an officer of the court.
To evict a
right?
family.
But that doesn't. That's up to them. Those people involved, like the representation from the courts and the bailiffs, right? But the Gardaí have no hand active part in dragging people out of the house, and if that happens, they cannot. Then that's a breach of the peace to me. They cannot stand idly by, so they have to protect that tenant.
Because it's not. Is it a criminal offence to refuse to leave an evicted property?
Every single eviction is a civil matter, so the Gardaí basically have no role in civil matters like that. And if it comes to be physically ejecting and manhandling people, the Gardaí will have to protect those individuals.
There's what it says in the rule book. Gardaí should not attend eviction unless a criminal offence is alleged or disclosed. Under the new policy issued in 2020, the role of An Garda Síochána is policing evictions to ensure public order is maintained and that no criminal offence is committed. But even that's vague, though. If for instance, you refuse to leave the property, is that deemed then to be a public order issue?
Well, no, it's not. That's a civil matter. Then they come in if I'm inside my house. The guards can't come in unless there's a warrant out for my arrest. They can't take me or you out of our house. As simple as that.
Okay.
This is a civil
matter. But if that's
matter.
the case, then O'Bwyn, nobody should have doctored the beautiful painting in the first place because it's fake news.
Well, the thing is, to me, it was a shot across the bow because, you see, the people representing the courts and the people involved in the evictions and the day can request An Garda Síochána standby, and the Gardaí more than likely will be sent out there then. But to me, they shouldn't have hand back their part, and if the people are mishandled in any way or harassed, I mean, it just can't happen.
Okay, let's see. I'll get some more information on this as to what can and can't happen in the event of an eviction. We need to be great to be able to clarify it 100%, wouldn't it? Meanwhile, you can text 0868 104 106. The picture, the painting itself of an awfully sad time in our history. Incidentally, I also addressed that to the person who said these things wouldn't be happening under British rule. Famine happened under British rule. Genocide happened under British rule. Give me a break, will you? That was a painting by that was a painting by the renowned Cork artist Daniel MacDonald. And it clearly was painted in and around I would imagine in and around the 1840s. He lived a very short life, actually, the artist Daniel MacDonald, born in 1821 and died at a very, very young age in 1853. Don't know what killed him, but I'm quite sure the conditions of Ireland at the time probably went a substantial way to taking his life at a young age. Text 0868 104 106. Back after the break.
Well, he may not yet get away with that either. John O'Donovan, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Philip. How are you doing?
What did you want to say about Donald Trump?
Well, I think he's sadly missed off the world stage, Philip, for the simple reason. Since he left the stage, look what has happened between Russia and Ukraine. Nobody seems to be having negotiations with North Korea. The Chinese are getting very restless and very assertive. And I put this down to one man. Donald Trump has moved off the stage, and hopefully he will be back on again, because I think people around the world and these regimes, they were frightened of him because they were afraid he could be a tough man. He was unpredictable. And I think since Biden went into the White House, the world has seen, and a lot of these people like the Chinese and Putin, that there is a weak man in the White House and they're exploiting it. Now, I have great time for Trump because he's pro-life and he doesn't believe in abortion. And I am pro-life. So I have great time for him, and that's part of his presidency. But
so are you prepared to forgive him any other sins then, because he is pro-life, John?
Well, he hasn't killed anybody, you know. I mean, let's be honest, look what went on in the White House during the Clinton period. That was 10 times worse.
All right, but do you not think that a president of the free world, I suppose a leader of the free world, is somebody who should be held to a slightly higher standard than he hasn't killed anybody, you know?
Well, the fact is, as I said, when you were Clinton going on television and he'd lie to the people of the country, he says exact words were, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. He didn't even give that girl her name. So which is worse? That's 10 times worse in my book. No, as regards the morality of his marriage and everything, the way he comes up, he's not the only one having extramarital affairs are messing around. I mean, that happens in all sections of society. Like, but as regards a figure on the world stage, I think he is sadly missed.
But let's not judge him against the Bill Clinton standard. Let's judge him against his own standard. He potentially incited a riot aimed at interrupting the process that was going to elect Joe Biden to the office of presidency and to succeed him. And he did it in a way that resulted in the loss of life in January 6th.
Yeah, well, you're right. There was people lost their lives, but I mean, it was the crowd assembled, the mob. You could say, did Trump incite the mob, whatever? But was he not entitled to question the result of the election? I mean, he wasn't in charge of the mob. He didn't lead the mob.
He didn't discourage the mob. He did arguably an awful lot to incite the mob. No, you don't. You don't agree, John?
No, I mean,
these are the facts.
I mean, look at the broken promises that have been made to us down through the years here by several governments, like, of all parties. Like, I mean, the Irish people have been betrayed. So, I mean, when it comes to being betrayed and let down, look at our own.
Okay. Michael Ryan, good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, how's it going?
What's your point of view on this?